We're going to begin this hour with the disco-inspired sound of the up-and-coming trio. I love this name, Say She She. They've hit stages from the Hollywood Bowl to Glastonbury, England, and they've just completed a headlining tour in the U.S. for their second album. It's called Silver. Anthony Mason is here to introduce us to Say She She. Anthony, I like the way they sound. Good morning to you.
Me too, Gail. Good morning. I first heard Say She She live at a benefit concert a year ago. I loved their sound and their surprising story. Wait for the end, because we had a little surprise for them.
Shake it all up, toss the ashes, kick the door down, smash the ceiling, leave it reeling.
The disco-delic soul sound of Say She She has caught on so quickly, it's left the band reeling.
It's been a non-stop go.
The three lead singers, Naya Gazelle Brown, Pia Malik, and Sabrina Milio Cunningham, are all classically trained. Pia and Naya met at a house party in Harlem.
And within like 2 minutes of meeting each other, we were singing at each other.
So this was home.
That's right.
Pia and Sabrina met in an old tenement building on Orchard Street on New York's Lower East Side.
You were on the top floor.
I was on the top
So
floor.
I was living on the 5th floor first,
Yeah.
by myself in a little studio, and she moved in with her best friend Sean in the apartment directly above me.
Right.
So
And she was kind of loud.
4 a.m. Pia's a night owl, so
can I say?
she would come home late night. I'd hear her heels, stomping around at 4 a.m.
But you heard each other singing?
We did.
Yeah. Because you can hear everything through the floorboards and the rafters.
Dear Mr. Man, have you called in all your favors? Have you no more games to play?
After singing backup for other bands, they decided to form their own.
Was there a point when you heard the three of you together and just went, this is it?
Yes. Well, first notes of singing with you guys, I was like, wow, this is a nice blend.
Out of our minds, running for miles, running for miles.
How did you decide what you wanted to sound like? Because there's so many influences I hear in what you're doing.
It really just so organically came out of us.
We just came as ourselves.
Yeah, we just sound like ourselves. It's like a little patchwork or something. You just sew it together and you go, ta-da.
Ta-da.
little
We're gonna like this, but ta-da.
On their song Blow My Mind, they even sing in Hindi.
Some of my favorite parts of the music. I really, it's
And
so...
they'll harmonize with the Hindi and learn it too, which is so beautiful. It's like celebrating each other's culture.
I don't need to know.
Pia came to New York from London. Naya came from Washington, D.C. And Sabrina moved downstate from Rochester.
It's taken me a while to find my musical family, and a few iterations of trial and error and a few fails, and I just feel so lucky that, I found these two.
Oh, you're gonna get me all choked up.
Sorry, it's true. It's true. I remember Pia booked our first show without us even having any songs written. You know what I mean? She's like, the confidence is inspired me so much, and it just, and I just love that about her.
That first show in 2018 was at a little Brooklyn club called Barbez.
The crazy thing is, Robert Plant showed up for our first gig ever, and we were like, and my bass player was kicking me from behind. I said, I know who he is, okay?
Led Zeppelin's lead singer just happened to be in the house.
He wasn't there to see us at all, by the way.
Right.
No idea if he liked it, but it felt like a blessing, and we were like, well, if Robert Plant comes to your first show, you got to keep going.
Yeah.
Just 5 years later, Say She She have made a name for themselves.
Tell me how the name came about.
Yeah, it's a bilingual homophone, because we're really nerdy.
It's an homage to the band Chic and its co-founder, Nile Rodgers.
Shishi is like a little nickname for Chic and C'est Chic.
Yeah.
And of course, that's the hat tip to Niall.
Pia, Naya, and Sabrina have never met Nile Rodgers and weren't sure he was even aware of them. But we tracked him down on tour with Chic.
This is really a cool surprise.
Where are you?
I am in Auckland, New Zealand.
We asked Niall about Say She She
I know all about him.
and then shared it with them.
No. Oh my gosh.
This was their reaction.
I wish Say She all the success in the world. One, because I think it's cool that they're influenced by us, but I also think that it's cool that they're doing it in such an organic way. I would love them to surpass me. That was awesome.
Oh my God!
Oh my gosh, the God.
Oh, wait, we're messing up our makeup.
That's ridiculous.
Oh my goodness. Oh, what? Dang it. We need a Kleenex.
Why does this mean so much to you?
You just grow up and you work so hard and, you know, you try to start things with intention and you look up to people and you just, and no, just the validation and just, it's really sweet. It just,
I mean, we just looked up to Niall for, like, forever.
you know, he's just a badass.
Yeah. Oh my God, you guys.
Yeah, that is
Wow.
so amazing. I can't thank you for doing that.
Oh.
Boy, that tells you what one little gesture can mean. Our thanks to Niall. You know, we literally reached out to him, and within like 5 minutes, he said, "How about now?" And so I literally did that Zoom call like with no notice, and you can see how much it meant. You know.
But what a great surprise for you to do to them, because you can see what it means to them, Anthony.
It was obvious to me that honestly, I didn't realize it meant that much. I was so stunned by their reaction. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And they're doing great things, and so I'm really excited for them.
I didn't hesitate when I was asked to sit down with one of hip-hop's most influential groups, the Wu-Tang Clan. It's part of our celebration of the 50th anniversary of hip-hop. The rap's group's raw lyrical style and unique delivery helped popularize the genre in the early 1990s. They released their first studio album, Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, 30 years ago this month. Critics say it's among one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time. We met up with members The RZA and Young Dirty Bastard, whose late father was also in the group ODB, to talk about their legacy and what's next for the Wu-Tang Clan. It's 1993. New York City. And the freshest sound in American hip-hop was coming from Staten Island.
Ray got it going on, pal. Called me the rap assassinator. Rhymes rugged and built like Schwarzenegger.
Armed with a unique name inspired by kung fu films of the 1970s, the Wu-Tang Clan were as dangerous with their rhymes
Going to war with the melting pot.
as their martial arts counterparts were with their hands.
Tossing and forcing, my style is awesome.
Where did the influence of Shaolin, martial arts, that type of cinema, how did that come into play?
You know, well, it started, of course, in Manhattan, 42nd Street. Instead of going to school, we hung in the theaters all day. You know, you're talking about 13, 14-year-old men absorbing 3 of these movies a day.
Slaying boom bangs like African drums.
Robert Diggs, known musically as the RZA,
Crazy flamboyant for the rap enjoyment.
was the engine behind Wu-Tang's early success
Yeah, another one there.
and helped assemble the group's roster. The GZA, Old Dirty Bastard, Method Man, You God, Inspector Deck, Ghostface Killer, Raekwon the Chef, and eventually Master Killer.
Within those films, it was always philosophy. It was brotherhood. It was train yourself to be the best you can be.
Discipline.
Discipline, you know what I mean?
Sacrifice.
Sacrifice, exactly. And so all those things, of course, it shows up in our music.
Straight from the slums of Shaolin.
The group's first studio album, Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers, was gritty, raw, and low budget. Sometimes violent, and much of the time mixed with samples, it helped expand what hip-hop could be. An alternative to the West Coast gangster rap and jazz-infused hip-hop that was leading the pop charts. When I pick up this right here, What does this mean to you and to the Wu-Tang?
And I'm gonna call it, it's like a signpost, right? A lamppost, a point where hip hop, of course, was here before us. But once this thing comes, it's gonna change.
What was it like for y'all working on the inside?
In the midst of us growing success, we still had all the basic problems of being a young black man. Police pulling us over, putting guns to our heads, and all of a sudden we dropped Cream.
Living in the world no different from a cell.
Those first road trips, I never forget. You know, we started off in a van and everybody laying on each other's shoulder, right? And we went from being gold to headed towards platinum.
For those that don't know, platinum is what?
Platinum is selling 1 million records, physical. And
That's old school physical. This isn't streams.
Nah.
Here I go, deep tight flow. Jack you stole can never get this low.
In 2004, at only 35 years old, Old Dirty Bastard, founding Wu-Tang member and RZA's cousin, died following an accidental drug overdose.
The Wu-Tang was a group of individuals that moved like a family. But even within those individuals, ODB stood out. What was it like growing up and understanding the impact that your father had?
1, 2, 1, 2. This is how we do it from Brooklyn.
We didn't know what was going on, obviously.
Ow!
We had Pampers on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As long as mommy changed me, we was good.
Yeah.
He was real dirty, but we weren't that dirty.
Barson Jones, known as Young Dirty Bastard,
At nighttime,
is ODB's eldest son. Today, he performs with Wu-Tang in Dad's Place.
I'm penetrating through.
After the show at the Barclays, we actually sat down and we had a family dinner. It's like two sides of the family. It's like the dirty side and it's the digs. And no matter what, how high we climb at Wu Mountain, and you know, that just brings us back to who we are as people, deeply rooted into each other. And I don't think nobody could change the dirt.
If I can speak for the entire clan, when we see him on stage, embodying that energy of his father. And somebody the other day said he actually performed a little bit better that night than they've seen ODB perform. And I was like, whoa, hold it. But the energy that he's giving and he's encapsulating, for us it's a joy because we know our brother is not physically here, right? But you have to have a physical representation of him that is as close as you can possibly get to him.
Yeah.
And to see him, you know, whether he's conscious of it or not, he goes into it.
More than 3 decades and 7 studio albums later, today, the Wu-Tang Clan continue to tour and pump out new music.
The pain that I experienced over through the fame.
So we've seen what hip hop has accomplished over these first 50 years. Where do you see hip hop headed?
I always say that hip hop is a mountain. And I think 50 years only marks the base of the mountain. So I think we got a long way to go and it's gonna keep evolving.
Kurt Russell and Wyatt Russell, we're so glad to tell you they are both here in the studio. Welcome, welcome, Russell men. You know what is so cool? There's one episode, I can't remember if it's 2 or 3, where they do a merge. Do you remember, Kurt? It goes from one face to the other. I rewound it because it was so good.
It really does tie the two time periods together. We talked about this a lot when we were working on what this character was going to be, because Wyatt was going to establish who it was, and then it's going to blend into a guy 50 years later, 60 years later. But
I've never seen anything like this before. Number one, I love when the credits say Lee Shaw, played by Kurt, played by Wyatt. I've never seen, they might do reflections where they go back, but this time you go back and forth so we get to see all of you in real time. Did either one of you feel pressure or nervous about knowing that you're going to be playing with your dad, playing with your son?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely more nerve-wracking than just going on set and doing something that wasn't with my dad, because we've been offered things before that were, you know, father and son. It's like, it was always the low-hanging fruit. Like, of course, we'd be offered father and son, and it would be something that would thought would be maybe fun to do. But this was actually a unique idea that was not something that we've been offered before, and it was Godzilla, and it was a big thing, and so you want it to be as good as it can be, and you know, we worked.
And what about you, Kurt? Did you feel because he starts it off?
That's it. Well, he's going to establish the character, and I'm going to, connect to that.
Hope you can live up to it.
Yeah, exactly. And so we discussed this a lot in terms of who this character is going to be. You got to realize when we came on board, this was that idea of casting didn't exist. So we had to be careful of not doing a father-son thing. You're doing the same person.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
That meant I suddenly found myself on his set sometimes watching him. Here's a guy I knew pretty well for most of I thought I did anyway. I'm watching him now, and suddenly I'm no longer watching him as a person. I'm watching him as a character creator.
Because the mannerisms have to match.
Yeah, and you didn't want to cartoon it up, and you didn't want to just drop the ball and suddenly go, well, wait a minute, I thought he was left-handed. What happened here? So you had to be aware of that.
Yeah. Godzilla is a bigger-than-life figure, monster. Wyatt, so is your father. And I mean that with all due respect. You are an icon.
What you saying, Nate?
I'm just saying you are an icon in
That's
this business.
true.
In
That's
your name,
true.
it holds a lot of weight.
I appreciate
That's
it.
What type
true.
of pressure has that placed on you in your career? One, to create your own legacy, but also live up to Pops.
Good question.
There's no living up to Pops because that's not the way they raised us. There's no shoes to fill. It doesn't. That's not part of what I care about or think about at all. It was only ever about doing what you can do best and go do that to the best of your ability, who you are. And the path that I followed was similar to him in that I was a professional athlete. That was my life.
Hockey, though, and baseball for you, right?
Yeah, and that's where I learned how to do everything. That's where I learned how to fail. That's where I learned how to work hard. That's where I learned how to do all that. So when I came into film or acting, it was like there was no following in somebody's footsteps. I'd already done all of that. I already had been booed in front of 10,000 people. It doesn't feel good, but you have to get up tomorrow.
I was going to say, that must hurt being...
Yeah, it sucks, but you have to get up tomorrow and you got to go, better than anybody. You have to go out and no, I got to play tomorrow night. So, get over it. And so there wasn't much of a transition to I got to be this or I got to be that. It was more of I want to do this my own way, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
That's something that's true in our life. I'm sure it is in yours, Nate. You probably experience it more and more every day. Discover that all businesses are the same.
You're right about that. They're parallels. But
they're parallels. I don't care what it is. You got to get in it. You got to make the team every day. Right. Every day you got to make the team. So when we were going to do Godzilla, I was like, okay. This is either going to be great or really bad, and we don't want to finish at the bottom. We don't want to hold the rest of the league up. So let's go. Let's get into this and let's make this cool. And we discovered something. We played a little game the other day, yesterday. We got to thinking. We said, I can't remember of a well-known son and father in a situation where they played the same person. But then we started thinking about other things, which we started looking at baseball, football, all sports, fathers and sons. And it's a fun game to play. And when sometimes when you've got two that are really up there, you kind of go, oh, look at. We discovered the Guerreros yesterday.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Because I always thought
That's
it would
a rabbit hole on social media.
Junior or the Bonds. Guerrero heads up. That could be the best pair of all time. But when you're doing it in this business, the opportunity to play the same person was something we.
Well, I know your family's very tight. What did Goldie say about this? Your mom, your partner,
She.
What did she say?
She loved it. I didn't expect her to maybe like it because it's a monster movie and it wasn't, it doesn't necessarily play to her demo.
But say it's not a rom-com?
She loved it. She
really did.
Got into the.
She and Mary are both kind of I really like this.
Yeah, your wife. Because last time you were here, he was about to get married last time he was here. Now you've had a baby and another one on the way, so your life is really
life's happening
changed.
fast.
Yeah, life is happening. Did you learn things about each other that you didn't know, or did it? You were already close, so I'm not trying to say it brought you closer. You guys are always a very tight family.
Well, I've always, it's funny when it's your kids. You're Goldie and I are both very objective people, and you look at it objectively, whatever it is. I've always appreciated Wyatt as an actor. I think he has this natural ability to be very, very real. In this, that was going to be interesting because that's what it was being called for. So I always figured that would be a strength of his. But in watching him do it and watching his approach to it, which we don't talk about ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I was going to get in there and do it, man.
Yeah.
Find a way, Jack. You know? So it's like I really liked watching. I really liked watching him concentrate and
awesome.
focus, and it reminded me. It's like, you know, when you're skating around, keeping your net clean, he's working. He's working. I know when I was at second base or if I was at the plate, you know, I've got to do everything, and then I'm going to step into the batter's box and look for something round and white. I'm ready to go. And I like watching him do that.
That's awesome.
It's not, you know what I mean? It's not
totally
The
proud.
Russell boys delivered.
Absolutely, I got it. Kurt Russell, Wyatt Russell, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. It's terrific work, guys.
Thank you so much.
I really love it.
We are very happy to say that Lily Gladstone is here in the studio. Hi, Lily.
Hi, Gayle.
All I can say about this is Lily's going to the Oscars. Lily's going to the Oscars. Lily's going to the Oscars, and I can't wait. Golden Globes, too. So what are you thinking about this? How are you processing all of this? You're an actress, of course. You're working with Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio, and people are talking about you in this movie. I want to know what you're feeling, what you're thinking.
I'm just grateful that if I'm getting attention, I know it's because people care about Molly.
Yes.
I mean, like you said, the beating heart of the film that is about these murders. And this story has been done before. Jimmy Stewart was in the FBI story, which was funded by the FBI, and it focused on the FBI. And this case was the formation of the FBI as we know it. So historically, it's very relevant. But, you know, the fact that we care about Molly so much, we care about her sisters, her family, her nation, that just tells me audiences are drawn to where we were hoping.
I care about that, but I care about you working with the two of them and what that means to you at this point in your career, because at one point you were frustrated with your career thinking, maybe is this the right thing for me to do? Should I continue doing this? That's what I want to know.
And I read that you might actually take a data analytics course. Very different life.
Yeah, I mean, I was great at math when I was a kid. Not like the little boy that we just saw, but
yes.
I was, I was encouraged by my math teacher in high school, and you know, I kind of liked there was a bit of a storytelling element to it, all of that. But yeah, I think a lot of actors feel the same way at some point in their career, and especially being a Native woman, I'm selective about the roles that I want to do. So the ones that I'm able to do, and plus the ones I think I'm well suited for, don't come by that often. Once every year, every couple of years was the pattern. And this was also coming out of COVID. As a caretaker for my grandmother late in her life, and you know, just spending time with my parents through quarantine, all of it. I was terrified of bringing something home to them. Data analytics and studying, really, I live in northern Washington.
Well, now
this is
you're
where
on a
the
rocket
murder
ship.
hornet
The Pacific
was.
Northwest.
Right.
I'm always fascinated by how a role can impact someone. And you've said that this role has changed you, not as someone who is a performer, but as a human. How did it change you?
I feel like when you're telling stories like this that are about human suffering, but also human resilience, that was something that we really tried to focus on that I think has moved me so much. And I mean, just sheerly, I came in as an outsider. I'm Blackfeet and as Purse, but I'm not Osage. We all have somewhat similar histories in regards to, you know, federal policy and, you know, this, but the Reign of Terror is very specifically Osage. So, you know, I came in with, you know, wanting to handle it the way I would expect somebody to come in and tell a story about my great-grandmother. And now I have a whole other community, you know. It's some of the people that I love most in this world are Osage that I met during this process that let me into their family, their lives, their stories, their history. And, you know, it's part of doing a project like this.
Molly, most
can't
of us
just cut
didn't
and
know
run.
this story.
Right.
Most of us didn't even know this story. That's why I'm so grateful for the movie, because I learned so much. And what does this mean to you now, putting it out in the world for people to know this?
I think it's a wonderful opportunity for people to see Natives in a way that we haven't. You know, it is 100 years ago, but really it's a modern story. It's like you see these images that are really exciting, like Native people driving around in Rolls Royces. You know, it's so it changes our image to something that's more real in that way. But also, it shows people that we're still here.
Yeah.
You know, ending the film, ending this little glimpse into one nation, because we all of our tribal nations have some big adversity, some big attempt to eradicate us.
Pain.
And yet we're still here. We continue forward together. And,
You are still here, and I'm so glad you're telling the story. Do you want to go to the Oscars, Lily Gladstone?
Oh, sure.
Gayle, she's not going to take you.
No, I know she's not taking me. I think her parents will probably trump me, but I'm very happy for you.
Yeah, we all are.
Yeah,
We are cheering you on because I
Yes.
know you're going to the
Congratulations.
Oscars. And by the way, you're going to the Golden Globes too. Cheering you on, Lily Gladstone.
We all are, yeah.
One of my cinematic heroes, Baz Luhrmann, is here in studio. Welcome.
This is what a cinematic hero looks like.
I know.
Right here.
Baz Luhrmann in the flesh. So look, it's been 15 years since you told this story first, Australia.
Yeah.
That was when it was released back in 2008. Why did you want to revisit this story?
Well, blame Tom Hanks.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm about to do Elvis. Tom famously gets COVID really first. He was one of the first people to get it. He shut down. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I start looking at this 2.5 million feet of film footage I shot. And I realized that with episodic streaming, I now had a chance to lean into the big theme of Australia, which was taking something like Gone with the Wind, an old, melodrama, but telling it from an Indigenous child's point of view. And I just started playing with it and realized there was a deeper, different way of telling this.
But why would you think that would work, considering Australia did very well in Europe, but it did not do very well here?
No, not well here at all.
Yeah, so why would you think, let me take another shot at it here?
I think because I just thought, you know what? It's epic. I shot it as an epic. And in the back of my mind, in those days, we all forget, movies came out and you had one night and it was, well, is it too long?
Yeah.
Is it compressed? But episodic storytelling really suits the epic nature. And I was able to really lean into things that, like, it isn't just a director's cut. There are different plot points. I work with these young Indigenous pop stars to make new music, which I think is great.
Yeah, the music is great. And
Thanks,
the fashion, we can say a special shout out to your wife, Catherine Martin.
Yes.
Shout out.
Fashion is great. But I was telling Vlad that I intended to watch one episode, okay, maybe two. I watched all 6 of them back to back because I thought, I don't have 6 hours to do to this.
Because it's that good.
But it's that good.
I love that.
No, I really mean it, Baz, because I learned about the stolen rights, about this Indigenous children.
So real.
This is a true story.
Yes.
About the way that they were
the
treated.
70s. It went on until the 70s.
What is it exactly?
Yeah, you know what? It really is a great scar on our country. Children of mixed race were forcibly taken from their families and put into compounds and told that their families were dead.
Yes.
And it had such a devastating effect on the communities and on the culture. Now, there's been films made about it, but I wanted to take a popular form that would bring in a broad audience but deal with a very, very unpopular subject. And that's what I tried to do. It's a melodrama. I mean, it's got all that kind of broad comedy and big romance and big sweeping, Hugh and Nicole. But at the centre of it is this child who is stolen from his family.
Yeah.
The film is told through the child's eyes.
Yes.
And you change the ending. Not going to give it away, but it's very different
It's
than
not
the
happy.
original.
It's not happy.
It's not a happy ending like the first film. Why did you choose to do that?
When I was making it, and look, I think...
I'm still recovering about that.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry to traumatize you there, but Australia, I think, it was one sitting. I remember when we released it, there was the economic breakdown, and because it's melodrama, there's tragedy. And we felt maybe it was too much. And so I opted for the other ending. But with episodic streaming, you have enough time to actually deal with it. And in the end, the theme of it is, as Hugh Jackman says, you really can't own land, you can't own a child, you can't own a relationship. All you got in the end is your story. You better try and live a good one.
I think Hugh and Nicole together also are magic.
Magic.
Did you have to convince them? Were they on board right away? And I think anytime you can see Hugh Jackman, all of his abs and shirtless is a good thing.
You mean the Elvis of the Outback?
Yes, yeah, the Elvis of the Outback. Did you have to convince them? Were they on board? Because
no,
you couldn't
they
do it
were.
without them.
We went through so many extraordinary things making that film. They came in and did some revoicing for it, and we all have such extraordinary memories of the journey. I mean, we had difficulties. It rained for the first time in 100 years in the desert.
Whoa.
I remember Nicole coming to me under the boab tree and telling me, "Oh, Bazzy, I'm pregnant." So there's
And you
so
said,
many...
"Great."
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
We have questions about Elvis. I'm gonna do a little something for the internet after we finish this interview because we're running out of time. Yeah, I want to talk about Elvis.
You mean blow up the internet?
That's what I'm planning to do. Baz Luhrmann. Always great to have you. Yeah,
so good.
So great.
I really love that you watched the whole thing.
Oh no, we really did.
We loved it. It was great. I loved Australia. I had to go back and watch the ending of Australia to make sure my eyes weren't deceiving me.
Well, they're like cousins. You know, same but different.
I love it.
Our next guest, she is a multi-talented singer and actor. Her name is Jackie Burns. She made her Broadway debut in the Tony Award-winning revival of Hair and started in the national tour of If Then. And she was the longest-running Elphaba in the smash hit musical, Wicked. So when you see those posters and ads, that's Jackie.
Jackie.
Now she's playing superstar Celine Dion in the Titanic off-Broadway. In this musical, a parody of the film Titanic, Dion shares her comedic retelling of what really happened to Jack and Rose that night in the North Atlantic. It's very funny. And belts out some of her iconic hit songs. Here's a look.
Once more, you're open heaven, and you're here in my heart, and my heart will go on and on.
Jackie Burns is in studio. Now,
Yes.
that's not one of the funny parts because you were so good, Jackie Burns.
Thank you.
David Foster invited me to come see the play. Did you know David Foster was there that night? I wondered.
No.
Because we were cracking up at you.
I'm so glad I didn't.
We were cracking up.
But the David Foster.
The David Foster.
I mean,
The
who
David
basically
Foster.
discovered Celine Dion.
Yes.
Yeah,
I like how you did that.
Celine Dion. No, thank you. So crazy.
You portray her as a parody, but you say it's more of an homage to her.
Yes.
What is it about her that you like so much?
What is there not to love? about
Yeah.
Celine Dion? Well, I think what's so beautiful about Celine is that she is just so pure-hearted. She has nothing but love and joy. There's no filter with her, right?
Yes.
You know, as we get older, we get more and more self-conscious of what other people are thinking about us, and we're like, oh God, did I say this wrong, or did I do this wrong? There's none of that with Celine. She's here, she's present, she's here for you, ready to talk to you, so excited.
I love how you
perfect.
She's like, hello, how are you? Yes, I am here. Woo! You can't help but feel her
So
joy,
good.
right?
How did you learn her mannerisms? And explain the difference between the way you sing and the way she sings.
Oh God, well, yes.
First, let's hear Jackie Burns.
Oh, well, so like if I were to say my heart will go on, I'd be, my heart will, right? And she's, my heart will go on. And there's a lot with the side of her mouth, everything's from the side. In fact, to the point where my voice teacher the other day was like, you can still sing, normal, right? Like you can still not sing out of the corner of your mouth. I was, yeah. I can still still sing without giving you
Did you study tapes? What did you do?
I went on a very deep YouTube dive. The second I got the audition, I was like, okay, I gotta do my research, and I went all things Celine Dion.
Do you feel like, it's so amazing. Do you feel like you're, look, remember I interviewed Austin Butler, who portrayed Elvis.
Yes.
And then for like a year, he was Elvis, right?
Yes.
If you found yourself like at home being like, I gotta.
The Celine come out.
Yeah, just a little bit, yeah. I find that, she leads with her heart, you know what I mean? There's no, Jackie, will sometimes, hunch a little bit and be like, hi, how are you? There's none of that. She is so, pure-hearted, and I find that I am now getting a little bit more like, hi, okay.
Well, that leads to a fascinating question. I always wonder when someone takes on a role, if it has an impact on who they are as a person.
Oh, yeah.
With all of the roles that you have done and the versatility that you have shown, do you find that it has changed you a little bit?
Yes, absolutely.
In what ways?
Well, when I played Elphaba in Wicked, there's no filter with her. She says what she thinks, and she's very fiery. And my friends told me that I was much more quick to the cut, when I was playing.
Really?
I'm like, that's not right. You know what I mean? Nope, I don't believe you, right? And now playing Celine, I am a little bit more like, okay, all right, I see your side.
very Canadian.
So Canadian.
Very
The nicest
Canadian.
people there are.
Do you walk around hitting your chest when you're talking to people?
No, I don't do that as much, but it does feel really right. I understand it now. It's so nice. You just and she plays everything. She is a musical instrument. That's the thing. It's not just her voice, her whole body. She's always in her hit. She's so fluid. Yeah, there it is. Look at you.
I'm okay.
Are you going to replace me as Celine?
No.
Okay.
But it's
Look good in a blonde wig.
It's contagious.
Celine Dion. You know, the thing about the show, it's never the same show twice because there's a big improv section.
Yes.
Did you have a background in improv? Was that intimidating for you?
Yes.
I wondered.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the first things when I saw it. I was like, oh no, I have to improv it. But it actually has been so fun. And it's helped me grow as an actor exponentially. I was saying the other day, Melissa McCarthy came to the show.
Oh, boy.
Everyone
Did you know she was there?
No.
Okay.
Because everyone knows in our cast. I'm the only one who doesn't know. They all know they're not allowed to tell me. And then the second, like, the curtain goes down, people are like, did you know who was here? And I'm like, no, who? Who was there? And they're like, Melissa. I'm like, Melissa McCarthy, thank God I didn't know, right? You know what I mean? Could you imagine improving in front of Melissa McCarthy?
I know. Nerve-wracking.
Yeah, but she was the kindest human being in the world.
Well, I say this as someone who saw you. You seem to be having a good time on stage. And you do feed off of the audience, don't you?
Yes, so
Does the audience make a big difference for you?
Massive.
How so? What's the difference in terms of...
If the audience is with you and they're having a good time, like how you guys are so like engaged and present, it makes me engaged and present, right? But if you have an audience that is like thinking they're going to a golf game and is like giving you a golf class.
Have you had those kind of obligatory claps?
Yeah, where you're like, you can't help it. Every actor, we all come off stage and we're like, oh God.
I bombed.
I'm bombing. Yeah, you're like, I'm bombing.
Jackie Burns, you are never bombing.
So great.
Thank you.
And I saw you as Alphabet too. You were amazing.
Thank you so much.
Cheering you on always.
Thank
always,
you.
always. You can watch Titanic.
Titanic.
Where?
At the Daryl Roth Theater in New York City.
But how would Celine say it?
She would say, come and see me at the Daryl Roth. Woo! Shall we go for it? Hey!
Thank you, Jackie.
This morning, we are introducing you to Nancy Twine. She is the founder and CEO of Briogeo, a hair care brand that focuses on natural hair ingredients for all hair types. Twine founded Briogeo in 2013, inspired by childhood memories of making hair oils in masks at her home with her mom. At 29, she was the youngest Black woman to launch a product line at Sephora in 2014. Nancy Twine joins us right now. How you doing? Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, thank you for being here. So you said that this brand was inspired of childhood memories, making hair products and oils with your mom. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so growing up, my mom, Black African-American female, she was a physician and a chemist. Oh. And with her chemistry background, we used to go to our local health food store and buy all sorts of oils and extracts and butters and bring them home and transform them into these really simple but effective beauty products. And I loved making hair care. I just felt like the products on the market weren't serving my hair texture type. So we really, literally took matters into our own hands.
Yeah, but you had a very successful career in finance. So it's not like you started out doing hair care. You were doing very well at Goldman Sachs.
Right.
And then you switched from banking finance to this because...
Yeah, so unfortunately,
you.
halfway through my career in finance, I lost my mom really suddenly. And it really changed my perspective on life. And after that, I was so determined to spend my life and my career rooted in passion. And that became my mission. I wanted to discover, what I was passionate about. And I kept thinking back to these childhood memories of making these products. Yeah.
And where did the name Briogeo come from?
So it's a totally unique word. I will tell you, as an entrepreneur, trying to name your company is really hard.
I'll bet, yeah.
And so Briogeo is a unique word that really encompasses the spirit of the brand. So brio is an Italian word that means vibrant, colorful, full of life. It's what we're about. It speaks to the diversity of people that our brand serves. And then geo is a Latin word that means of earth or of nature, and that speaks to our clean ingredient methodology.
So what do your products do that others don't?
So
and did you
first
bring
of all,
some samples?
Yeah, there are goodie
Asking for
bags
Vlad.
in
Yes,
the back
because
for
I really
everyone.
need it.
And we have scalp products, though.
Okay.
We have something for everyone.
But what do you guys do that others do not?
So clean products. So we have our 6-free methodology, no silicones, sulfates, parabens, none of the bad stuff. We're very mindful about what you put on your hair. It touches your skin. Also impacts the environment.
Okay.
Also for me, too, it was so important to create a product line that really unites people. So there are products for everyone. You, everyone in this room.
Yeah.
And sustainability. So much of our packaging actually leverages post-recycled resins into the bottle so that we can, really take care of our environment.
Making products for everybody is part of that desegregation process that you
really lock into. What was it like when you were younger? And you talked about it briefly. When you would go to the store and you would try to find products and the people on the packages didn't look like you.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that out of all the beauty categories, historically, hair care has been the category that's been most divided. You know, going to like your local pharmacy and seeing this beautiful aisle of product. But if you have textured hair, oftentimes it was such a
It's
small
in the back,
assortment.
yeah.
It's in the
In the
back,
bottom
back
shelf.
corner on the bottom.
Low lighting, all
Yes.
of that. And I said, we should have products that are part of this wide, beautiful assortment.
Right.
And that's what's really inspired that part of Brioche.
And then you sold the company, Miss Nancy.
I did. So after 10 years, I sold the company last year to the Wella Company.
And how much did you sell it for? I forgot the price.
So it was a fair deal.
Just tell us the number.
I'm not. But the
Nancy's like, mind your business, Gayle. Mind your business.
But you sold
Inquiring minds want to know.
But you were still involved in the company.
I'm still the founder and CEO, which is so awesome because we have this great parent company behind us now. We can do more. But I'm still at the helm.
That's an incredible accomplishment. I know we're joking about it, but congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And now you want to help other entrepreneurs. Yes.
I do.
What's your best bit of advice?
Yes.
So I will tell you, the entrepreneurial journey is not easy. Persistence overcomes resistance.
There it
You've
is.
got to stay in
Love
the
it.
game.
Nancy Twine, congratulations. Thanks for
Thank
being here.
you.
Love the boots
So
and
much.
the dress.
Yes.
She will never have a son.
In the 1960s, Mater Joffrey was best known as an award-winning young actress.
Let's give me something.
But on a recent stroll through the vegetable garden outside her home in upstate New York,
You can eat these. You can cook them.
it was easy to see why food is now also her legacy.
So this is green peppers. I'm waiting for them to get red.
Look at that.
While Joffrey has slowed down a little in the kitchen after a 50-year career,
We are making a wonderful lemony chicken.
she's still willing to teach.
I asked for 2 inches.
And I think cumulatively that's about 2 inches.
No,
No?
no.
And in this case, the student was me, one of the countless Americans
Ooh, it's hot.
exposed to authentic Indian cuisine because of her.
And put all the other spices in.
Turmeric, check. Coriander, check.
Check.
You were never intended to be a cookbook writer.
I don't consider myself a cook of any sort. I consider myself an actress acting like a cook.
Why, then, have you become so famous as a, as you put it, cooking person?
I have no idea. Ask all the people who have made me so.
Born in Delhi in 1933, she was, in fact, a foodie from the start.
I love the taste of good food, and the food was all cooked in our own family kitchen and was so delicious.
And when she moved on to pursue acting at London's Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts,
Who's kissing someone? Huh? Who?
she also realized how bad food could be.
How was the food at the Royal Academy?
Well, it was pathetic. So I started writing letters to my mother saying, please, please teach me how to cook.
Her mother responded with simple recipes, all in Hindi and all leaving Joffrey to figure out the details, which she did, maybe a little too well.
In the introduction to An Invitation to Indian Cooking, you describe the whole book as a gradual move in self-defense.
Yes, yeah.
What did you mean by that?
Because people were always saying, where can I get good Indian food? I said, my house. What else is there? And then there were just a lot of people coming.
Yeah.
And so my way of holding them off was with, okay, I'm going to give you a book. Okay, here, you take this and make it yourself.
Yeah, right. Stop asking. And...
Just stop asking. You can't come here anymore. It's too much for me.
Published by the same company that had just introduced America to Julia Child and the French,
And you just paint it all over with melted butter.
Joffrey's book did as much or more for Indian food.
While we're holding the book, can we talk about the cover? This does not look like cooking clothes.
No, no. This is what is called a temple sari. I would never cook in that. But for the picture, I thought, you know, let's do it.
When the chicken has been cooked, it looks like this.
And like Julia Child, Joffrey soon had her very own cooking show, following an audition that asked her to imagine the ingredients.
So I said, oh, I'm putting some cumin seeds in the cast iron skillet now. And now I'm roasting them lightly. That's smelling good.
That's a mesmerizing performance. You could tell. So the acting training
So the acting,
came in
it was
very
all
handy.
the acting training.
Yeah.
And everything I did uses the acting training.
Now I'm going to make a dish for you that
More shows followed, teaching all the Indian classics and so much more. From pork vindaloo to shahi korma to tandoori chicken. And she published dozens of additional cookbooks, too.
She laid so much fundamental groundwork for people to even be curious about Indian cooking.
Priya Krishner is a food reporter for the New York Times and the best-selling author of multiple cookbooks, including Indianish.
I really don't think my career would be possible without Mother. She sees people like me and so many others taking that and writing recipes that feel true to our identities as people who grew up in America, but in Indian households. And she really applauds that. Like, she really celebrates that.
So just pour it evenly around on top.
Back in Joffrey's kitchen,
Pour it on this in between.
when the chicken is done, she shows me how to plate it. And in between the bites, a little moment of gratitude.
That's good.
Good.
That is perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. On behalf of, at this point, millions and millions of happy home cooks
Yes.
and the people who ate the food, thank you.
You're welcome.
We're going to begin this hour with a story of how one woman turned her vulnerability into her very own superpower. I love when that happens. Her name is Aziza Shuler. Remember that name. She's a reporter and anchor for CBS Philadelphia for years. Both on and off the screen, Shuler has been hiding something deeply personal to her, her battle with autoimmune disease. She spoke with our lead national correspondent, that would be David Begnaud, about why she has decided that now is the time to share the news publicly.
I literally would stay up at night and pray to God that one day I would go to college and leave all of this trauma behind and start a new life for myself. I was like, I'm going to be that. I'm going to be a news anchor.
It's not that Aziza Shuler didn't have the talent to be on camera. It's that she spent most of her television career doing it with a secret.
I just thought, okay, that's something that I'm going to keep buried forever.
That secret is alopecia. Diagnosed at just 12 years old with the autoimmune disease, all of her hair fell out as a child, and from then on, she hid it.
I wear a wig every day, personally and professionally.
But in September, during Alopecia Awareness Month, she broke the news to the viewers of CBS News Philadelphia, who know her as a weekend anchor.
I would spend hours in the mirror, meticulously styling my hair so that my wig would appear as natural as possible. But I'm tired. I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of living in fear. And that starts with living without my wig.
How is that to watch it back now?
It still makes me emotional.
Does it?
Yeah. Emotional in a different way, though. I can't believe I harbored so much fear and anxiety about revealing this secret that no longer is a secret now.
It was her boyfriend, Vaughn Pohl, who encouraged her to expose her truth.
We were about to go to the gym, and he's just like randomly, so are you gonna take your wig off? I think I felt like I was waiting for him to ask me that question. I don't know why.
And so when he did, what did you respond with?
I think I just said, okay. And I took it off, and he's like, okay, now let's go outside. I looked at him, and I was like, no. At that time, I'd never been outside bald.
Ever in your life?
No, I
Never outside?
Never went outside. I didn't know how it would feel for the wind or air to hit my bald scalp. I didn't know.
When was the moment where you felt some relief?
When a woman stopped me and said, girl, you look beautiful. And then another man stopped and said, sister, you rocking that bald head. And then someone else stopped me and was like, I love your haircut. Literally, within maybe a mile, these people gave me affirmations. that they didn't even know I needed.
The city of Reading is looking for a new police chief.
But still, at work, Schuler continued to hide behind the arsenal of hair pieces.
Did you think you could be an anchor today, bald?
No, because I didn't see other anchors who were bald. I didn't see women on TV who were bald.
She realized that the only way to liberate herself personally would be to reveal herself publicly. So she told her general manager, Kelly Frank, and news director, Kathleen Giroux, the very personal reason she wanted to do a story about alopecia.
And I said, well, I really want to do the story because I have alopecia and I'm bald and I no longer want to wear wigs.
You weren't really going to ask for permission.
No, I wasn't.
Wow.
But I was fortunate that I work with women who are my cheerleaders, who are uplifting, who were ready to see something like this on their television screen.
We sat down and everything was, whatever you want to do. Let's tell your story.
A beautiful woman inside and out.
The public unveiling was such a triumphant moment for a woman who was born into trauma.
You were born inside of a jail.
Yes. Yes. My mother was in jail for theft.
Schuler says both of her parents battled drug addiction. By 5 years old, she and her 6 siblings were living in the foster care system. There, she says she was physically and sexually abused.
What do you think when you see that girl on the left right there?
I see someone who doesn't really know how beautiful she is.
That little girl went on to compete in pageants and graduate from St. John's University.
A thief simply walked up to this Ford F-150.
She got her first job in television in Yuma, Arizona, before eventually making her way to Philadelphia, where the telling of her story has been so telling.
In the newsroom and conversation, she just seems so much more relaxed, much more comfortable in her own skin.
When I think about how far I've come, it makes me emotional.
Her story, picked up nationally, has impacted women like Jamie Flack, who wrote to Schuler.
Mine was totally hormone monthly, had the hysterectomy at 31, took a few years and hair back, but then still got to do my brows myself. You're beautiful and you make me feel that way.
This lady lives in Montana.
Oh, she does?
Yes, and she was waiting to surprise her.
Stop it! Oh my gosh!
Hi, Aziza. Beautiful lady.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting that. Thank you for sending me that message. I just want to know, was it a surprise to see a woman bald on air when you turn on your TV screen?
When I went through it, there was not a lot known about alopecia. And so there was a stigma attached. And it was very humiliating, very made you very insecure. But I can tell you, girl, I cannot rock it the way you can.
I can't even put into words how much meaning it brings me to know that people all across the country are reaching out and embracing me with such support.
You feel the love?
Yes, I do.